Welcome everyone. My name is George Ellison and I'm proud to say I'm an effective communicator. Before taking my journey through my technical writing class, it was safe to say that I was mediocre at best when it came to getting others to really understand the information I was distributing. After learning the technical communication problem-solving approach, I now find it much easier to produce an effective product that communicates a clear and concise message. To give you better insight into what I'm talking about and to help you get a better idea of how the PSA works, I will walk you through one of my experiences with an assignment in my technical writing class that required me to put the PSA to work. The assignment given was to basically find something around the house to produce a creative work and then provide instructions on how you made it. Sounds easy enough, right? Wrong. Initially when I began, I didn't have a clue as to what I wanted to do or where to start. This started out as one of those assignments that made me doubt whether or not I could actually complete it. After pacing back and forth, I realized my head started to spin and I began getting frustrated. I felt like I had writer's block and I hadn't even wrote anything down yet. Before things got any worse, I decided I needed to stop, breathe, and think. This is what I do whenever I'm faced with a difficult assignment. It helps me to refocus and remember that there is always a preferred method of approach to any assignment. While evaluating the PSA, I decided that the first thing I needed to do was perform some research. I needed to figure out what I could find around the house and use to produce a creative work. I looked in the garage, I searched in between couches, I even looked under the bathroom sink. I looked everywhere. I laid out everything that I thought I could possibly use onto the floor. At first I felt like I found a bunch of useless junk, and then I saw it. I found a shiny red Lego that saved the day. After conducting research and deciding to use Legos for my assignment, I decided that the next step I should use in the PSA is to plan. The first question I needed to ask myself was, why am I writing? I was writing to give instruction on how to build something from Legos. My goal was to make the directions clear and concise, while also tailoring my instructions toward a certain audience. When asking myself what I needed, I first had to evaluate what I had. To successfully complete my creation, I would need to make sure I had a well-planned Lego design, and I needed to make sure I had enough Legos to support my design. After gathering all the relevant information, the next step for me was to create my draft. And knowing this, I needed to make sure that I stayed on track with the specific goals that I set for my Lego project. During the design phase, I tried different formats until I found one that made sense for the type of assignment I was doing and the audience I would be addressing. I made sure that I took pictures of everything that was needed, that way I could incorporate those pictures into my design. After creating my draft, I felt that it was essential that I reread it myself to see how it sounded, as well as have someone else reread it aloud. Next, I disassembled my creation and tried to follow my own instruction. This is where I realized how difficult it was to instruct someone on how to build something. During this review process, I also reviewed feedback from other peers. I gathered all the information found and used it to edit and rewrite my instructions. After finishing my final draft, I needed to take the next step in the PSA process and distribute my work. It is always important to read and follow your instructions, directions, and guidelines for submitting assignments. I used the appropriate Dropbox as directed and submitted my assignment. Upon follow-up, I saw that my instructor had positive things to say about my assignment, which is usually a good sign. The PSA can be used as a checklist as well as a guide to help you in your journey into the world of writing. To obtain maximum success, use the PSA throughout the duration of your assignment. While utilizing the PSA, it is good to remember that you don't have to go step by step in sequence every single time like you're a robot. Instead, look at the PSA and use it to help you decide which step you should start at. Also, if needed, feel free to revisit steps as necessary to ensure completeness of your assignment. As a writer, I learned that it is important to calm down and focus. When your mind starts to wander when faced with a difficult assignment, you should find a way to refocus yourself. In my beginning stages as a writer, I didn't like writing at all, especially when facing an assignment that seemed overwhelming. When facing such situations, an easy way to get over the hump is to simply get started. I find this method simple but effective. Also, No matter how difficult an assignment may seem, try to always remain confident. Remember, others have likely completed similar assignments. Therefore, it is not an impossible assignment to complete. I learned that it's more to being an effective communicator than just saying a bunch of words and hoping that everyone is receiving the message you are trying to get across. Sometimes you have to realize that instead of disseminating lengthy information that doesn't really focus in on what you really want to say, you should give a clear and concise message. It is also important to remember to know your audience. This is important so you can tailor your message to fit your audience. When doing so, be mindful of your words and the visuals you use. Happy writing and good luck to you all.